Hello again, friends. Welcome back to the office. My name is Grumpy Smith. I want to ask you a question today. Are you happy with what you do for a living? Are you satisfied with it? Are you making the kind of money you need to make? Do you hate to go to work of a morning, or do you look forward to it? They have to drag you out of the door to get to work, or does the time just fly when you're there because you enjoy it so much? You know, I was asking myself that question a few years ago when I just really didn't feel like I was doing what I needed to be doing. I wasn't really enjoying work. I was getting by, but my heart wasn't in it. And so, Lord, help me out. And let me tell you exactly what the deal was. I'm in real estate. I was then, and I still am, and quite honestly, it's an enjoyable job. And like I say, I'm making a living. But I said, Lord, I don't believe this is where you want me to be. And let me know if that's right or not. Well, the interesting thing happened about that time. Within a few days, I was in the bookstore looking for some things to feed my mind, like we talked about yesterday and in the post yesterday. And I came across this book. It's by Mark Atterbury, and it's called The Climb of Your Life. And he uses analogies of a mountain climber, ropes and all of the hookups and all of the equipment that they use in making the point that you do in your climb in this world. You do what you do best. Use the material, use the tools that God has given you to be what you can be. And if you find what you do best, you're probably doing what God made you to do. There was another book I picked up about that same time by Max Lucado. It's called The Cure for the Common Life. Now, if you hadn't read this book, I really encourage you to. You know, there's nothing gospel in it. He's not teaching doctrine, but he does use Scripture, and so does Mark. Both of those guys use Scripture to point out that God made us with a specific gift. You know, 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and Romans chapter 12 both talk about many being parts of one body. And I believe that means the church. But I also believe in that same deal, he's talking to us about the very idea that he made every one of us with different gifts so that church body could be a functioning body. And so he made us all to do different things. So, Lord, what did you make me to do? Excuse me. Lord, what did you make me to do? What did you make me, and what gift did you give me? Now, the points in the book always said, find what you enjoy doing the most, and that's probably what God intended you to do. Well, quite honestly, folks, what I enjoy doing the most is preaching and teaching. And I just never had decided to go that direction, and let me tell you why. I never went that direction because there's an awful lot of church politics involved in the world. I really hate that. I wish politics wasn't part of the church, but it is. And I want you to think about your minister or pastor or whatever you want to call them. Think about the fact that ever how many members there are, that's kind of how many opinions he has to take care of. That's about how many people he has to try to make feel good. And folks, that's impossible. So I really just never did like that whole scene. But the idea of coming in and speaking to congregations or churches or schools or whatever and giving some good lessons, now that is very interesting to me. And so I'm trying to do that. And the book, Everyday Christianity, has provided me a platform to do that. It's helped me to become known because, you know, like I told you before, I haven't done anything that's noteworthy so that a bunch of people know who I am. You know, I certainly don't have a name that's as recognizable as Max Lucado, and I'm no Rick Warren, you know. So here I am, just a guy trying to do what God made me do. Now, I want to tell you, I took one more step because I have believed that I have been given the gift to do other things, and it turned out that maybe I wasn't quite as good as I thought I was. Most of my life, I considered myself a pretty good song leader. And I found out, and this is actually an answer to prayer, I'd always told God, I said, God, let me know when it's time to not lead singing all the time. Let me know when that time has passed. Well, I was let known, I was told, and I appreciate it, I really do, that Kent, maybe you shouldn't be leading singing anymore. We want to sing some of these newer songs, and quite honestly, folks, I can't read music. The notes and the words, and I have to listen to it a few times in order to catch it. So I understand when we're singing songs that I haven't heard all my life and known since I was a child, yes, I can't lead them. So it's time to step down. Okay? What about this? Was I lying to myself? Was I fooling myself with my ability to speak and teach? So I went to some friends. I went to the church leaders, the elders, and I said, guys, what do you think my gift is? What did God make me do to do? What do I do best? And they all said, Kent, you're one of the best speakers we've ever heard. People just identify with you. You're so real. You don't know how to take it when they say, Kent, you're so simple. But that's what I am, folks. I'm just simple. I'm just the everyday, ordinary man that I claim to be. And people identify with that. So I'm pursuing what I believe God made me to do. And since that time, I've worked harder to make this happen than I've ever worked in my life. My son told me just a few weeks ago, he said, Dad, I can't believe how hard you're working to get the word out about your book and to speak and teach the way you do. He said, I'm so proud of you. And you know, coming from my son, that's special. So yes, I think I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And I want to encourage you to find what you're supposed to do. Maybe it's what you're doing. Man, I hope that's true. But if it's not, put some thought to it. Put some prayer to it. Ask some close friends. Find out what you were made to do, what you do best, and then do it. And if you're like me, you'll find out you're a much happier person. I know Jesus and I talk to God. And I remember this from when I was young. Faith, hope, and love are the good things He gave us. But the greatest is love. Till next time, this is Grumpy Smith.